Everyone. Welcome to another episode of CX BnB, the brain and backbone episode run by his phone. Today on the show, we are joined with Deepika Rathod, and a seasoned transformation and strategy leader with over 17 years of experience driving digital transformation, research, and operational excellence across industries. Proven thinker doesn't talk about change, but try to do it by hand. We just had a long conversation just before this episode. Uh, uh, would like to go deeper into data-driven insights, real-world challenges, and of course, we'll have a very we look forward to a very engaging episode with you, Deepika. Welcome again, and thanks for giving out time and being part of this episode.
Thank you so much, Ashish. Thank you so much for having me on this. We did definitely have a very interesting conversation just before this, but looking forward to more.
Sure, absolutely. So, quickly jumping on, Deepika, I have my notes here, so I'll keep
Okay,
on looking at that.
sure.
You've had a diverse journey across research, consulting, operations, digital transformation, IT, fin, and so on. How
Yes.
how how did this path shape the way you think about CX today? With all the AI and all the fancy things, what is your take?
Got it. So, as you rightly mentioned, it was a mix of everything with my entire professional life, right? Uh, I would say three were the main key components which kind of made me realize the entire CX is just not a function. It's more of a lens, right? While I was doing research gave me the discipline to listen deeply, to understand what's the ground reality, right? Consulting is something which helped me understand and structure a way to solve problems. And coming to digital transformation, it helped me uh, develop what it takes to make the real change on the ground,
Mm-hmm.
right? So if I weave all these three together, that's how I design experiences that balance what customer feel,
Mm-hmm.
what business need, and what teams can realistically deliver. So that's something which I see CX as of today with all the experience which I had in the past.
Wow. So I think there's a lot of intersection of data,
Yes.
strategy, and so on. And is there a core approach you have figured out in solving this, or it's more about on the ground trying to understand? And how do you go about this?
So it's almost on the ground. See, every situation is different. Every industry problems are different, right? Until unless we get onto the ground and talk to each of the individual to understand
Mm-hmm.
what the actual and the core problem is, us doing a hypothetical analysis of yes, this could be a problem from our perspective will not solve the core issue, right? It's always important for us to get onto the ground and understand what's the actual reality is.
Right.
Many a times we have seen a lot many organizations struggle for the very reason that they have a set mindset of yes, this is what is the problem and this is what we are trying to solve, rather than going and talking to end users, understanding what actually they need, and
Mm-hmm.
that's how they need to design it, right? A small change in the overall design, entire behavioral aspect can be taken into consideration while experiences become more happier and stronger,
Right.
is what I believe.
Right. And in your journey, have you come across a lot any misconceptions with, when you've worked with other leaders or different department heads, different folks around within your industry or others? Have you seen any misconception? Is it like CX is equal to support, or have you seen what have been the misconceptions, if you can name a few?
Yeah, the major misconception which I definitely have come across, and we did laugh about it a lot.
Okay.
Uh, One was that most of the senior stakeholders, they feel that good customer experience is about having a happy customer. What delight will they get, or
Okay.
what makes them happy,
Customer
right?
delight.
customer delight. They just stick to that.
Okay.
Basically, we are not looking on the other side of the overall scenario, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
CX is all about reducing the effort,
Mm-hmm.
building the trust, and enabling outcomes.
Mm-hmm.
Once we do this, the end result would be the happiness and delight.
So it's like CSAT driven by a function of effort.
Yes.
Okay, so it's like, I remember in one of the conference, I think in Bangalore only when we were there, somebody called about created a new metric, or I'm not sure if it's really a metric in the world of CX. It's CES, Customer Effort Score. And
Wow.
now, and I'm like, okay, this is interesting. And how do you quantify was very hard because every industry could have a different way of calling
Yeah.
and calculating the same. But yeah, interesting. You have a similar learning. It's just not a score, but it's definitely an effort.
The effort plus the score makes the real impact.
Understood. Understood.
So
That
totally
is
with that, whoever has come up with that customer score is a genius, because that's a crucial element for us to also understand and analyze what can be brought as a change, and what's the happiness index what we can look at the end of the day, right?
understood. Understood. And
Great.
any specific moments or projects, which actually triggered your engagement with CX, or was it just natural progression on in your career?
Okay, if I have to reflect back, um 2019 around is when I started my own venture.
Okay.
Uh, and that's when I was talking to a couple of customers who weren't complaining about the product.
Mm-hmm.
They were actually complaining about the experience around it,
Okay.
right? uh, that one very single conversation with the frustrated customer, it made me understand how broken the process was,
Mm-hmm.
that can overshadow great products. Even how much ever the product is very good, very compatible, scalable, whatsoever, if at all the experience is not kept into mind
Mm-hmm.
while the product is being delivered, it creates a very bad taste for the customer at the end of the
Absolutely.
day. This
Absolutely.
shifted my interest from
Mm-hmm.
operations to experience to design, right?
Okay.
That's what I wanted to fix, how people feel, not just the way they use it.
Mm-hmm.
It's about having that good taste at the end of the day. And my first transformation project was also something which showed me how a small design change, I was mentioning, like one small design change can shift the entire behavior of the customer. So
Wow.
that was a very interesting project for me, and that kind of created that interest to learn about CX more and more.
Hmm. So, I mean, I can imagine if you may be selling a Mercedes or a BMW or the Teslas, but if you do not have
Yes,
an end-to-end journey nicely covered, the experience would be not at par.
true, very true.
All right. So, any specific uh, in your experience, any areas which you felt has been overlooked other than, of course, just the design bit? Is it, are there other components in the journey of CX which you feel which needs equivalent care?
Um, if I have to talk, or rather pick about one such aspect, or rather the element what we are talking about during the entire customer success strategy, I would say that it would be internal enablement,
Okay. Okay. How you look out
right?
inward.
Inward, right?
Okay.
Most of the times we always reflect on giving a lot of priority external.
Right.
What would the customer experience be like? How would they be happy? What are the things what we can do, etc., etc.
Mm-hmm.
But if we design customer experiences but forget the employees who
Mm-hmm.
carry the weight of the entire execution,
Mm-hmm.
that's where the entire CX fails,
Okay.
right? If the teams are not equipped to confidently, clearly articulate, or rather implement that particular strategy,
Mm-hmm.
everything will fall apart. So
Fair.
enabling internal team within, it creates a lot of success to the overall outcome.
Fair. I think. I can see that because even in our org or in various places also which I've been part of, at times a lot of things are just looked at as business, but
Yeah.
unless you make it more empathetic inwards, the value doesn't come out for the customer. Yeah, fair point. I think that's a very, very fair point. Any specific metric? Of course, you could talk about CES. Is there any specific metric you track which reflects CX health? Of course, there is CSAT, NPS, fancy, all fancy. I know you have a research background. You will have much more metrics around it. So, any one metric which you feel really reflects CX health?
I will still reiterate one thing which I brought up initially as well, customer effort,
Okay, so it sticks.
right?
That's the
Yeah, it tells you everything, the joy, the friction, the operational health, how much effort the customer puts in. The
Mhm.
moment the effort is low, the loyalty and the profitability naturally increases.
Fair. I think that is fair. I think effort is the most important factor. This resonates with my previous episode also, by the way. So the gentleman who was there, similar
Okay.
learnings, wherein the
Mhm.
effort is needs to be as low as you can make it, and
Totally.
you will have a lot of stickiness after that.
Yes.
All right. So, I mean, you've been part of many organizations, different roles, as you mentioned earlier, you've played. Uh, is there, let's say you join a new organization, is there something specific you would look first to understand the CX strategy of the organization? Is there something which you would say, okay, in the first 30 days, 60 days, I try to understand this and try to evolve it to bring it at par to the enterprise level or something?
Okay. So any organization where I recently joined, or rather when it's fairly new for me,
Yeah.
the first thing I definitely look are three key components.
Mm,
One is the leadership alignment,
mm,
what they have thought about the entire journey,
mhm.
uh, and who is owning that journey. Right, the
Okay.
journey ownership is really important to facilitate what is planned to what is to be delivered, who are the key stakeholders, and how quickly we can translate those insights into action.
Okay.
So the moment these insights are clear, the deliverables and the CX maturity can definitely bring a lot of meaning to the organization. But just that, if the entire insights is still stuck at a presentation level
Mm,
and there is no meaningful outcome, then that means the company isn't mature enough. No matter how many dashboards, how many meetings you deliver, end of the day you will fail to reach that CX maturity level or the transformation which needs to be put in place. You will just be circling in the same loop of getting into meetings, taking your notes, having that minutes of meetings, action plan, give the ownership. All that will keep happening. But yeah, three things to align is the leadership, the insights, as well as the journey ownership.
so
So this is
backed by,
something which I predominantly look into.
yeah, so if I see it from another lens, the data drives it, but until
Yes.
there is intent, uh, nothing moves. So like the law of nature, so it's the same.
Yeah.
Any specific project which you've come across in the organization you've worked on, which saw a dramatic move before and after implementing an enterprise grade or a nicer CX, lower
Mhm.
effort in the terms which you just described. Have you come across that, any project? I'm sure such projects would be much closer to your heart than anything else, but I'd like to hear your experience around this.
Yeah. So I do remember that was just after COVID.
Okay.
I was consulting a health tech company, and we had a very interesting experience there. So that is a place where there was a huge gap between what customers were saying
Mm-hmm.
when we were on ground versus what the leadership believed,
Sure.
right?
Interesting.
So we were having our executives go on ground, take the feedback, understand the root cause, problems, their expectation, what they need, etc. But leadership have their own very fixed mindset that this is going to be the thing which will do what it needs to do, and we don't need to listen to the customers,
Mm-hmm.
right? But we ran a lot of, I would say, many series of customer listening labs,
Mm.
right? And we brought real stories onto the table. We
Wow.
recorded those sessions. We captured those moments. That's when the leadership believed,
Okay. And
yes, I
uh,
want to listen to the stories, and that's when we bought in. We bought in that interest and the intent to change their mindset. We
it,
redesigned the entire journey for
wow.
them,
And
and we had,
it was really facts which drove the
yeah.
industry. And uh, any, so in this was really during execution, or it was at the time of strategy also, or
No, we had the entire product built already. Okay,
okay,
so I joined in a stage wherein the MVP was completed.
okay.
They were at the verge of launching that MVP,
Mm-hmm.
and I was very strongly saying that you need to have at least one customer survey done before you
Mm-hmm.
launch an MVP.
Mm-hmm.
The moment you launch, there will be multiple complaints which would be coming in. Rather, you fix it before you launch. That's where more of the reiterations can be reduced, and you understand what extra need to be done in the second phase of layout.
Fair.
So that's when within 6 months, when we saw that particular real stories which we implemented in the MVP, a lot of changes which had come into the first version itself, the lot of user stories, complaints reduced,
Wow.
right?
So,
And that was a good before and after kind of a story where we had, while we did the user stories, we had an NPS with the MVP of so and so. But when we actually launched it to the entire audience, while the MVP was only done with few college students and few of the individuals in IT companies, but when we actually launched it, we had good NPS scores. So that speaks a volume of what
right.
can be done
And what
when we
was
listen to the customers on ground.
the duration of this? 2 months, 3 months, 5 months, a year?
6 months. We took 6 months
Wow. So a
because
MVP to a decently market fit kind of a
yes.
journey. Oh wow, 6 months is still fast, I would say. But yeah, listening to the customers were the key in this. And
True. It depends on the team. I had a very good tech team who were fast with iterations. We had, I mean, sleepless nights designing the entire UX. Tremendous effort from the UX designers who understood each and every aspect. When we had multiple such sessions where we did exchange a lot of friction, but at the same time they were accommodative enough to understand that the flow, and we had a good time at the end of the 6 months. We all partied together, so that created that moment of, yes, this is going to be there in my memory, and I will take away a lot of learning from
yeah,
this
yeah.
project.
Of course, I think such projects always stay with you all your life, pretty much. And in this journey, this wasn't a planning fiasco or anything. It was just BAU. It was more going
Yeah.
through the learnings. Were there any projects which you come across or any experiences where there were continuous struggles from planning to execution? I know you talked about dashboards to MOMs to meetings and meetings, but were there specific instances which just not moving into execution, just going in circles around planning? And I'm
Mm-hmm.
sure that would be frustrating, but any learnings, but and did that change? Would if in your experience would be great to know.
Yeah, one thing definitely was the change fatigue, right?
Okay. Yeah,
Each of us
absolutely.
did come across.
Mm.
Uh, transformation is always not an easy, right? And it's always hard to
Usually
land.
never easy.
Yeah, teams are very stretched. We spend ample time in meetings, huddles, doing those checks, reiterations, multiple things. But leadership should understand that the value of this change fatigue, right? They underestimate how much communication, clarity, and handholding
Hmm.
can definitely bring a lot of change when
Hmm.
it is done right.
Correct.
So we structured the entire process in such a way that we reduced this entire meeting time, scheduling, etc. That kind of came down. The communications were clear. We had omni-channel communication so that we are not reiterating multiple
Hmm.
things to multiple teams, and there was clarity in the process.
Okay.
Initial handholding is all that was required, and since then it was more on an autopilot phase, which
Hmm.
eased up the entire thing.
Understood. Again, inward. So looking inward
Yes.
first before you go and talk to your customer. I think fair point. And any you've worked with digital solutions, automations. I'm sure a lot of pen and paper designs you would have been through. Uh, any Do you think any specific area which really made a big difference in the journeys of your projects?
Uh, so big difference, I would say that I can recall was a triage bot
Okay.
we developed.
Okay.
Again, I would say, right, we created the triage bot for having the internal team reduce the back and forth work.
Mm-hmm.
We cut down the resolution time
Mm-hmm.
between the developers, the UX team, and multiple other stakeholders, design, marketing, product, which improved the employee morale in the first place. And the second thing was also that small automations were done much faster, and
Right.
the ripple effect was literally massive, if I have to see at the end of the day, which kind of kept employees happy. And yes, the testing team did not become that villain for the developers to hate at the end of the day. Right, so it is always that developers hate the testers and
Yeah,
in the
yeah.
Q and
Always.
A's.
Unless,
So
unless,
eventually we all worked.
correct, correct. Unless they become friends over a chai
Yes.
and sutta, I think that is what changes. Then it's like I'll not raise any bugs, but you still fix it.
Yes. The trash bot definitely did make a lot of difference for the entire team to work together. Again, something which was done internally makes a entire journey for the entire CX team to achieve something which can be delivered faster, more efficiently, and with less of effort to fix later.
Understood. All right. So I think then I'll jump onto the buzzword of the decade, I would say, which is AI. And with AI becoming such a at least by reports, it's looking like becoming one of the major part of CX.
Mhm.
Uh, do you see any specific area where leaders should keep in mind? But what should leaders keep in mind to stay human, to stay relevant in this whole avenue of AI, and how do we scale this up? I mean, I'm not sure if you're already using AI in certain area. Like to know your journey so far and your work around it.
So, in this era, if I'm not using AI, then I'm a fool,
Yeah,
right?
that's true.
So, not to be
No.
left behind, yes, we definitely are using AI. Happy to say that we are using AI more for the predictive things,
Okay. Okay.
and we use humans to handle the emotional aspects.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right? For me, AI is more for automation and efficiency, wherein humans are for the empathy and the required morale, what we deliver to the end users.
Right.
And yes, AI should also be used in such a way that the transparency and trust should not be eroded, right? So that's where a lot of compliance and regulation comes into picture.
True.
We have been very mindful onto those aspects, and yes, AI is definitely helping us predict a lot of things, streamline, and our human resources are doing more of the actual work,
Mm-hmm.
and having that uh, emotional and empathetic way of delivering things is adding more value and increasing the customer experience to an level wherein we are having higher satisfaction rates. So AI is helping us understand those trends even before the customer can come and cry in front of us. Rather, we prepare ourselves, we have that predictive data and insights with us, we work, and then we go to the customer and say, hey, you know what, we have seen this trend and this is what we have worked and come up with. And that's how your human emotions kind of connect.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say it is working together, which is creating a lot of success stories for us.
Awesome. Awesome. And I mean, just to understand this a bit more deeply, is it more like you see AI as a companion or AI as more of uh, a layer which helps humans to figure out or predict things? A companion
Hmm.
is somebody who's always with you, but
Hmm.
somebody working in background, but providing you a lot of details and then take it from there. Which of these two would you feel AI is closer at this moment?
For us, closer now would be the layer part,
Mhm.
but soon we will gradually, grow to a stage where we can make it as a companion,
Awesome.
right? End of the day, everybody would be using AI to an extent,
Fair.
right? Be it my current organization where we do handle a lot of psychological cases,
Yes.
AI can definitely be a part of those interventions as well. So yeah, probably in another 1 or 2 years we would make it companion. But for now, to begin with, we are at a layer stage.
Fair. I think that's how it will evolve. Do you see any changes how the human angle or the empathy bit will come down? Do you see some part being taken over by AI in time to come?
No, I would not say that human part would be taken away from AI. Automation for efficiency would be done,
Okay.
right? But when it comes to the humans who are delivering some value,
Yeah.
which AI cannot, those will remain. Be it research for that matter. AI will shorten your span of doing
Mm-hmm.
a lot of data collection,
Mm-hmm.
gathering information very quicker so that I can deliver a report which I used to take, say, around 15 to 20 days doing my primary, secondary, or whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
I can deliver it within a week, but
Mm-hmm.
I can spend my 1 week's time for creating more deeper insights, which would be a great value for a customer, right? So I wouldn't say that AI can replace a researcher, but definitely that helps a researcher to create
Efficient.
more
Make
insights
make the
faster.
researcher much more efficient, definitely.
Yes. Yes.
I think I agree. And so, do you see any uh, areas which really excites you for 2026? I mean, since it's just around the corner now.
Uh, with CX, I definitely see that it is becoming more proactive instead of reactive.
Yeah, that's very much
Right?
needed, especially in Indian context.
Yes.
Yeah, right.
With predictive tools, companies will anticipate needs, removing that friction before the customers feel it. And that's what we are trying to achieve, right?
Right.
We personalize and we scale it in a way that we are responsible,
Mhm.
and we also show them that we are proactive rather than yeah, we got a complaint and then we react to it on rectifications.
Fair.
So yeah, I would say that proactive CX journey is going to be the thing in 2026.
Nice. And okay, since we are just about time, I think I'd like to wrap it up and have closing notes. Any one thing which you want our listeners to walk away with with
Mhm.
one actionable CX tip from you, what would it be?
I would still say uh, yes, there would be people who would have thought about certain products or solutions, delivering something which would add value to the customers. But until unless they hit the ground, understand the real requirement from the end user, they would not be successful, right? I would insist that spend at least 1 hour with your team to listen to real customers, and then that shift the entire mindset, right? Instantly, it aligns with the priorities of the customers,
Correct.
and it also brings back that empathy which is required.
Fair.
Better than any dashboard or data, what you can look at
Yeah,
from
yeah.
the teams coming in. Real stories definitely makes an impact. So I would pretty much recommend the leaders to also listen to certain calls, which helps, actually helps.
Fair. I think so. Customer feedback, and of course, keeping the effort score low. So I think
Yes.
that is the takeaway which I can have. One tip, at least, I can keep with me. That's all. I think I had. Thank you for giving out time once again, Deepika. Was pleasure having you around. Wonderful conversation and time well spent. I wish you the a very good rest of the day, and
Thank you.
thanks again for
Pleasure being on this.
thank you. Have a good rest of the day. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye. Take care.